right. Well, I'm just going to dive right into it. In case anyone joins, this is really just being recorded for posterity, but anyone is welcome to join and ask questions, do whatever. So what I'm doing is I'm working on refactoring a website and modernizing it. And it's a friend of a friend kind of pro bono kind of thing. So it's the most expensive projects that you ever do. You know what I mean? Anyway, here's the website. A photographer's website. He does movie photography. So we already modernized it so that it's running inside of a Docker environment for local development. So let's bring that up. Whenever I want to do work on it, I just do a Docker compose up. And it's going to fire everything up. Yeah. We'll let that start up. So the other thing that we did the last time I was streaming was we converted this over to use my base templating setup, which is just a twig setup that I kind of like using. And it is here. It's just a nice way to base all your templates on this. It might be seen as a little overkill. But it allows you to do a whole bunch of stuff later, like if you want to add AMP pages, it makes it really easy to do that. If you want to load partial pages via Ajax, it makes it really easy to do that. So it also gives me a nice neutral starting point. So I am happy to be using that. And let's see, it seemed to up it really quick. No, it is up and running. Okay. All right. And we know... Now we got it all modernized on there. We know that we have this working because we got our confetti going in here. And now what I'm going to look into doing today is modernizing the JavaScript that is on here. So if we take a look, we don't need this anymore. But if we take a look at the way that this thing is structured. So here is going to be our layouts. And actually that is one other thing. No, it looks like I did clean it up yesterday. So here's our generic page layout. And you can see we've got some head JavaScript that we've just got a source and we're pointing it at this. I have no idea what, if any, the build system was for the site previously. But I'm modernizing it using the Webpack 5 build config that I have. So the first thing that so what is my approach going to be here? So instead of just linking to these things, like the site works, right? There's no reason why it couldn't just be left like this. But let's say there's a security vulnerability in Jquery 321 dist min that they're using. Well, we want there to be an easy way to update this stuff. That's why we use package managers. It makes it easy to pull stuff down. It makes it easy to update stuff. So it's going to make sense to pull all of these things out from their hard-coded nature and move them into a package.json so we can then be updating stuff and then fold them into the Webpack setup to do the actual bundling of the modules. And then we get the nice modern legacy modules, and we'll get into that pattern later. But everything, the primary benefit is just going to be that we're going to be able to update this stuff really easily and add stuff to it really easily. Now, realistically, this site, I don't think it's going anywhere. Like, I think we're going to get it updated and up and running and live again, and we'll be good to go. But still, might as well do it right. So what I think I'm going to do first is, so there's some JavaScript up here that's in the head. And then there's also some body JavaScript down below. So this is slick. And then finally, we've got some inline JavaScript that does some stuff. So I think the first thing that I want to try to do is maybe just break out this inline stuff that happens on every page. And it uses Slick and it uses some other stuff. And just break those out and put that into a separate file. So I'm just going to try it. Like, we already have a TypeScript file where we load stuff into, and I'm going to see what breaks when we do it this way. I think in theory, it probably should just work because we're forcing it to load jQuery, lazy sizes, all this kind of stuff, and the browser is going to block unloading this stuff. Did I get a code? Oh, dear God. Sorry. One from my CPA's office is texting me. Okay. They need a code to access an account. In any event, so jQuery should already be loaded, lazy sizes should be loaded, this masonry package should be loaded. So if we async load this file that does this stuff down below here, it should be fine. You know, it's going to load after that stuff because that stuff is all going to render block, and the browser is going to stop and wait until it actually loads it. And we're eventually going to fix that behavior, but let's just see what we can do. So we're going to tear this out. Go. And it's going to reload the page, and I think it may break this layout. Oh, interesting. I don't know what those things are doing. Well, in any event, certainly, yeah. Okay, the slick slider certainly isn't going to work. All right, so we know that we've torn it out. All right. Make sure they're able to get into my account. So we know that that's hooked up. So let's see about taking this code and putting it into our TypeScript that we have running. So all TypeScript is JavaScript with types. You can also put, have it set loose enough that I can put plain old JavaScript in here. I can do kind of whatever I want. Okay, so this is mounting the app. Async executing that, and then do this. Okay, so yeah, I think I'll just plop it right here. Legacy code to slick. All right, so we got a bunch of code in here. It doesn't like a bunch of it. Huh. Didn't screw that up. Let's see what it doesn't like. Duplicate jQuery selector. Okay. Well, I mean, I'm not planning to clean this up. Okay. Yeah. So we do want the type definitions for jQuery. So let's do that. npm i -- save dev at types jQuery. Yeah, why not? Open up. We got another window. Oh, we already had it running. Jesus. No wonder it seemed to start up so quick. It was already running. All right. My bad. I was suspicious about that, actually. Like, how is it possible? All right. So in the first terminal, we'll do our docker compose up. And in the second one, let's, I'm going to require that in a minute. npm, what did it say? npm i -- save dev at types jQuery. I believe that's what it was saying. Yep. Okay. And this is just going to give us a little bit of nice type hinting. All right. So whenever it gets around to indexing this stuff, it'll be a little more friendly. Yeah, it's got to reindex. That's all right. And we'll get this back up and running. that's starting up. Take a look at the developer tools for this thing. And so this is just complaining that WDS, which is Webpack Dev Server, it's just complaining that it went away, which it did because we downed the containers. And what I have this doing every time it starts up Docker, it does an npm install, and then it does a composer install. So that means when I up the containers, it's slower, but it also means I'm always up to date with everything that I'm running, whether I'm working on multiple machines or I'm working on a team with additional people that are working. We always have the same thing. So we're never running into a situation where we're spending hours trying to debug why it's working on one machine and not another. We got the same npm packages and we have the same composer packages synced together with composer.lock and package-lock.json. And this is just Webpack starting up. So this is the Webpack dev server. That's all running. This is the PHP container starting up. So that's all running. And this is our... All right. So you gotta love it when your CPA wants tech support. All right, so we got this up and running. I don't see any errors. And if we reload the page, oh, we got it on. So this is everything that is loading. And actually, let's just look just for the JavaScript. So here we can see the very stuff that's loading. There's our component that it's loading. And there's our app.js. So it did load the app.js. And all right. So let's see if it actually works. So one indication that it will work is if this lightbox pop-up works. Okay, so it did. Bada bing, bada boom. So that's great. All right. This, however, doesn't look right to me. Interesting. Oh, I think it actually is running because that's the masonry JavaScript that's shuffling stuff around. Maybe it's just a weird kind of edge case thing, and I'm not seeing any console errors that make any sense. This is missing, but yeah, we'll have to fix that later. I don't know where it's getting that from, and this is part of the build process that'll fix that. All right. But at least now, we have these, our actual JavaScript. We've got it in a file, so it's in our app.ts file. And this is all the stuff that's from the old site. This used to be inline JavaScript. Now it's bundled off into a little file. And great. All right, so now what we're going to look at doing is taking this other stuff that we got in here and adding these as modules. So why don't we start with Jquery? And then we can do lazy sizes and then, yeah. All right, so we got Jquery, lazy sizes, and masonry. So let's just see. Sometimes it makes it super easy to add these. So first, we're going to add it to our package.json in our build this here. And all right. So we already have, that's nice. So we already have lazy sizes. All right, so that's already there. So that's great. And what we need is jQuery. So we'll do that. We're going to actually do something special with jQuery. Something that I haven't worked with jQuery in so long. So this is going to be experimental in terms of getting this to work. But basically, we can use the built-in Webpack Provide plugin. And what this lets you do is it allows you to essentially get the functionality that you were used to back in the 90s, where you can just import something and it's just globally available everywhere. And I think this might be the easiest way to do this. And in fact, they have a jQuery usage right here. Yeah, so in anywhere, you can just do that. Yeah, I think that's going to be the way to go to do this. But let's get it loading first. So let's at least get it in our package.json first, right? We should do that. Okay, so we want jQuery. And the nice thing about PHP Storm is it will suggest stuff to us. We were using 321. I kind of like doing this where you do 321 to indicate the version you started with. So at least you know the baseline version that works. And then we also wanted masonry, right? Masonry? Which one is it? Is the question. Oh man, I don't even know. Probably masonry.js or masonry layout. I don't know what the difference between these two is. All right, so let's do this. Let's go to our handy dandy npm.js. And we'll do masonry. See what we get for results. So it's definitely not going to be template middleware for embedding JavaScript templates. Like, that's not a thing that we're doing. And I'm going to guess that it's this one, but let's see what that masonry.js one was. I'm going to guess that it's the same thing, just different name. All right, so this is Desandro. Let's see what masonry.js brings up. I'm going to say that this is probably it. All right. We'll just go with masonry-layout. And I'm actually really curious what the version that we are using, this bundled version that we're using here is. So let's take a look at that. This is just pre-built, sitting in here. Jquery. I don't think that's even used. Oh, great. Not gonna give me anything, huh? Because ideally, I would kind of like to use a version that is similar to the one in there. So I do have an old copy of this site. Oh, I have the old copy on the other computer. That's less than helpful. Well, I'll tell you what. We're going to YOLO it, and we're just going to put the latest version. masonry layout. And it's pretty old, so I guess we'll just go with that. All right, so we've got lazy sizes, we got jQuery, we've got masonry, we got all these things. The other thing that I believe is in there that it needs to use is slick. And okay, so it's got slick and slick lightbox. These both should be part of the same package, I think. But I don't know. Well, maybe they're not. Let's see what we get. Yeah, okay. So it looks like they're going to be separate things, most likely. Sure. Slick. Lightbox. Maybe. Oh boy. That one up too. Man, whenever you see Power install, oh man, I just start worrying a little bit. Okay. Okay. I think these are both the same thing. Because they're both pinned to the same version. Slick Lightbox latest. This looks like the same thing to me. Yeah. Okay. Okie dokie. Just gonna do this. Make sure we get a happy version of this. Yeah. Okay. So here are the things that we need. And all of these things, I believe, are used on every page. Not 100% on that, though. Would I probably... I'm probably going to start by bundling them all together. And then I'll see if there are any pages where slick maybe isn't used. I think it's used on all the pages, though. And if it's just used on all the pages, I mean, man, I'm just gonna use it on all the pages. Like, there's no reason not to just include it everywhere. All right. So we got our stuff added to our package.json. That's great. We're gonna need to get these stuff reinstalled. And to do that, there are a couple of ways that I could have done this. I could have done it from inside the container. I'm going to show you the quick and easy way to do it. We got our types in there. So what we can do is we just remove in build chain directory the package. Package lock, and then when we up the containers, it's just going to do an npm install of the stuff that's in there, and we'll get going. All right, so now that we have this stuff in here, we need to specify that we're going to use it in our bundle. So the first thing that I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to do this with the provide plugin here. Basically, this is just a built-in plugin, and what it's going to do is it's just going to make jQuery it's just there. Like, it's magically going to be available and injected into all of our modules. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to go to a Webpack settings, settings.app, And we're going to add, this is just a Webpack config. So for instance, here's an example. Bad example. Okay, yeah. All right. So the plugins is just an array. It's all right. And we can just go like that. So now we're saying, hey, we want jQuery available everywhere. So in theory, it should now be automatically available everywhere. And we should be able to just get rid of what we had in our import there. Yeah. We do our npm install. All right, what's it complaining about here? Webpack is not defined. Oh. It's just me being silly. Whenever I can, I copy and paste stuff because why not? All right, so that's going to start that back up again. And now let's go to, so there are two ways that we can do this in terms of importing these other things that we need. So we need masonry, we need slick, and we need a couple other things. I think that the way that is going to make the most sense, because we're actually using this stuff, is going to be down here. Yeah. So do it in our TypeScript. And don't worry too much about all of these errors. This is it complaining because our old smelly, sorry, Matt, JavaScript that's in here is not, new fancy modern TypeScript compatible, whatever. We're going to get it working and then we're going to clean it up later. All right. So we shouldn't need to import jQuery anywhere. But we can import doesn't like this. Uh-huh. Oh, okay. Yeah. It's just complaining. Okay. All right. So it's going to need that, and it's going to need that, because I doubt there are type definitions for any of these. I doubt. Wonder why it's giving me. I think that's all we should need. Then we're going to do slick. And all of these things, I believe the way these packages work is like they should just work. We'll find out. That's for sure. All right. So we're importing all the things. Yeah. I mean, it's right. It could be null. And it should be checked for. This should be automatically injected. That's interesting. I did install the types for jQuery, but it's still not finding it. Well, let's double check. Let's see. Did we get our at types? What? Did I do it in the wrong directory? Huh. Crazy. Or did I never do it? Yeah, I did. So dumb. I did it in the wrong directory. I was in the CMS directory. Okay. Fail. All right. All right. So we should have our types now. I actually don't think that we need to restart. I think it should just work. Because this is scanning the installed files. In theory, it should just work. Okay. So now we got all this stuff as part of our bundle. And you know what? I wonder. I wonder if I just want to make these globally available too. Like, what's the sense of importing this stuff? We're not actually using it this way. But I kind of like that we're being explicit about it. I don't know. It could go either way. Probably I'm going to end up putting these in the actual, yeah, I'll probably end up putting them in the actual. All right, so let's see what kind of horrific mess that we made from doing this now. Okay. I'm going to reload some stuff, and oh yeah, we got some errors now, baby. All right, grid.masonry is not a function. So I think that the problem here is I think the masonry package is not loaded correctly. Okay, let's see what we gotta do here. I'm just looking up the issues to see. I mean, I can't imagine this would make a difference. We're not actually even using it anymore. That's the thing. Yeah. All right, so just for the heck of it, I'm going to try out no webpack config. no like it. Let's try. Let's check out our entry point and see what we have in here. Oh. Looks like it is time for our workout. Is that right, sir? What is that? Jack is coming down, right? All right. Okay. So I think we just need to... Let's just bundle everything in here. Oh, you're changing... Sun's changing the lights. Yeah, so we actually are going to need to do our weightlifting. I do weightlifting with them 4 times a week. And we do it at 4:30 because then we got some other stuff that we gotta go to. So it's saying that Slick Lighthouse doesn't exist, so that's interesting. What are you doing over there? Oh, did I say lighthouse? That's why. It should be lightbox. I got too much performance stuff on the brain. What's up, Jack? I'm just wrapping up. Jack, just change. Tyler, just change it back to what it was, please. All right. So now we've got a building. We got a building with all this stuff in here, and still not working. Okay. Gonna have to continue it another time, folks. Unfortunately, I have to get going. I'm going to cut this stream short and